What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Check the Kick. Sherdog.com is the website. I am the host, Devin. I know I took some time off. I apologize. I have been away. I went on a vacation. I was up in the Cascade Mountains doing some fishing, some chilling, some bonfiring, some grilling. It was a dope time. That's not too far away from me, so it was a kind of a mini getaway that weekend for the wife and I. We're back. I watched UFC 314 from the cabin we stayed in. It was pretty dope. I was fishing in between fights. It was riverfront, right on a river, and I was able to fish in between fights. It was pretty cool. I had like a bonfire going. It was cool. So UFC 314 was a pretty cool experience for me. I started to get a bad migraine throughout the card, and ended up having to take some Tylenol, and I pushed through. I made it. Old dudes coming through, Volk. Old dudes not coming through on the undercard. Chase Hooper beat the shit out of Jim Miller. Excuse me, while I clear the throat. We're going to get right into the main event. We're going to go straight into it. This episode is, I'm going to go probably about 45 minutes here today. It's just going to be a recap of UFC 314 main card. No fight coming up this weekend, so we got a weekend off, and then the following weekend will be the Carlos Prates versus Ian Machado Gary fight card. That's a pretty cool card. Like Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby's on there. That's like a fight for a fight for people like us. So that'll be cool. Yeah, we'll start right off with Volk. Volk reclaims the crown. He is the king back at 145 again. I have mixed feelings about this because if it wasn't someone with the tenure and the experience and the record that Volk has, I would feel like this is pretty freaking fraudulent. And in a way, I hate to say it because I'm a huge Volk guy. I'm actually not a huge Volk guy. I respect Volk a ton, but I'm not a huge Volk fan. But when I say I'm a huge Volk guy, like I totally respect his career in the UFC and everything he's done. It's incredible. Feels a teeny tiny bit fraudulent, and I'll tell you why. But I'm going to tell you the good first. Volk pulled up, slight favorite in this fight, coming off of 2 back-to-back knockout losses where he first fought Topuria and lost. For whatever reason, people think that was like a unclear decision win for Makhachev. I'm here to tell you the first fight with Islam and Volk was really not that close. Like if you go watch it back and you score it and you watch it unbiasedly, it's a clear win for Islam. Volk also clearly won the last round of that fight. I'm not going to argue that. But he also, clearly lost the fight. He got head kicked by Makhachev in the rematch. That was a bad look for him. He got kind of cornered up against the cage and got kicked. His eye blew up real bad. It was a really, really, really vicious, violent knockout. And then, Topuria knocked him out real violently too. That was a real bad loss. I mean, not a bad loss as far as who he lost against. But yeah, a bad loss nonetheless. He's like 37. So there's a stat floating around. If you listen to the show, you've heard the 35 and 35 and over stat. Tyron Woodley's done it at 170. Outside of that, no one's done it at 170. No one's ever done it at 155. Mind you, he lost 2 fights in a row, got knocked out in 2 fights, came back and won the title. So shout out to Volk. He fought this fight. He fought this fight like to the absolute best of his abilities, especially, the stage of the game that he's in with his age and everything like that. Like he shouldn't be. He's just defying the odds. And I'm going to sound like a hater. Part of it is because he fought Diego Lopes. Because this 145 title bout could have contained 2 other dudes completely. Yeah, I mean, Volk did not have to be a picture, in this picture, especially since Topuria relinquished. And one part of this fight probably should have been Movsar Evloev, even though he's really stinks to watch. But Volk, he looked as good as he possibly could in this fight. Sorry, I'm messing with my chair. If you're watching this on YouTube, probably saw me just drop down about 10 inches. Again, I'm just very torn about how I feel with this. Volkanovski looked really good in the first round. I'm bouncing back and forth, but Volk looked really good because Diego Lopes just doesn't have a championship level game. He just doesn't. And he was the hype dude with the hair that had been finishing dudes, fought Dan Ige on 10 minutes notice. That was really cool. But Diego Lopes isn't the first or second best 145er in the division. Might not even be in the top 5 when it all plays out. In the first round, Volk was willing to, just be more crafty and be more diligent and have better vision in the pocket. Diego Lopes is a big puncher. He's a very big puncher. He's got a good uppercut. He's got a good, 1-1-2 where he dropped and hurt Volk. Was it at the end of the second round? He won a round off Volk. I think if this was the Volk that fought Max Holloway for the third time, or fought Islam in their first fight, he would have absolutely washed this dude in the first round of the fight. What's Diego Lopes's game? Excuse me. What is Diego Lopes's game and what is he good at? He's good at being scrambly off of his back. He has pretty good BJJ off of his back. And he's a violent puncher and he's willing to meet you in the pocket and brawl. That's what he's good at. But you can't craft a game. That's just not a champion's game. What sucks for people excuse me, Diego Lopes is 145 is not 145 is not men's light heavyweight where a random dude could just pull up, scoop the belt, and then just lose it in a fight or two. Everyone that's been a champion in this division in the past decade is literally greatest of all time, number 1 pound for pound ranked. So that's always going to be a problem for people like Diego Lopes because to be a champion in this division, you literally have to be a GOAT. Look at the fucking division. I'm going to say something nice about Conor McGregor. You've got Jose Aldo, one of the greatest fighters of all time. All of these dudes, you could argue featherweight GOAT. Conor McGregor, I'm not going to argue he's the featherweight GOAT, but he's the worst of this bunch. Conor McGregor is a piece of shit idiot in 2025. When he was fighting at 145, incredible fighter. You got Max Holloway, one of the greatest dudes of all time. BMF champ, 145-pound champ, defeated Jose Aldo twice. You got Volk. We're talking about him now. Incredible. Probably the best 145er ever. And then you have Ilia Topuria, who's a number 2 ranked in the world, and flatlined 2 of the dudes on this list. And I starting to put Topuria in the same place as Khabib, where I feel at 145, Topuria would probably beat any fighter that's ever been in a cage at 145. You put him up against the Topuria that fought Max Holloway or Volkanovski, and I think he hurts him. You put him against the best Conor McGregor, he hurts him. You put him against the best Jose Aldo, he hurts him. We saw what he did to Max and Volk. I think greatest and best are 2 different, but Topuria is a real problem, and was a real problem at 145 if he ever if he decides to not return. Back to the fight. I'm sorry, went off on a tangent. First round of the fight, they get into a pocket brawl. Again, Volk remains, diligent and uses his vision, and he's just better at everything than Lopes besides durability. And he buzzes Lopes in the pocket with a big hook in their first pocket exchange, kind of causes him to step back. He was leg kicking, jabbing Diego Lopes. He would, circled away from Lopes's power and then switch back, hit him with the jab, and then switch back again, causing Diego to really, really chase him. And someone that is just does not have the technical capabilities to, do, like what Max has been able to do to Volk, even though Max lost the third fight pretty badly against Volk. His other two fights, he did really well. He hurt Volk, dropped him, whatever. And Topuria just has like best footwork in the UFC. So yeah, Volk's not going to be able to outsmart him. And then you combine that with the power and it's an issue. But someone like Diego Lopes, who is just, he's a mess. He doesn't what was Diego Lopes's game plan? You could see Volk's game plan very clearly. I don't even know if Diego Lopes ever fights with the game plan. Like meet them in the middle and hit them with the hammer. That's going to help you beat up a lot of dudes that are not Volk. But like as you guys saw, Volk is clearly hurtable. Volk has never had a good chin. He's only getting older. He's coming off of 2 knockouts. You know what's going to happen? Volk's probably going to get knocked dead in the next 2 fights he fights, because it doesn't get better. It only gets worse. But last Saturday night, it was definitely enough. He completely schooled Lopes, in my opinion. Lopes had a good, round 4. The way he was able to just land that ground and pound against Lopes in the first round, he showed him like, hey, homie, not only am I going to beat you on the feet, I'm going to beat you on the ground. You're just playing catch up this whole fight. And that's all Lopes did. He wasn't able to cut off the cage. Volk was stinging him with a really, really good jab, beating him in most pocket exchanges, was willing to meet him in the pocket. Right when I saw Volk be willing to meet Lopes in the pocket and hurt him and not really get hurt back, there was the moment in the 4th round where he got hit in the eye, injured his eye, but he wasn't concussed. He got kind of, dropped in a moment, but was right back up to his feet. But I think he did the more damaging work on Lopes. The leg kicks were really great, causing Lopes to reset. Every time Lopes would plant his feet, Volk would just pop him with something and then just cut a corner and then just exit out and then back to, forcing him to chase again. People are saying that Volkanovski is running. Fighting with high fight IQ and beating the dude that you placed a bet against that you like just because he's being hyped up doesn't mean he's running. It just means that you probably are holding a bad ticket in your hand, or your fighter you like is losing. It's Volk didn't run in this fight. And if you guys know fucking Alexander Volkanovski, that dude has not ran from anybody. He fought Islam Makhachev on short notice. Ask what happens to dudes that fight Islam on short notice. Didn't happen to Volk when he fought him. Yeah, he lost. Had moments in that fight. Didn't get freaking killed like Bobby Green or Moicano or any other of the victims of a short notice Islam Makhachev fight. Diego Lopes showed that he's got tenacity. And he's got good cardio. He's got good power. He can carry his cardio through the fight. He's got a good chin. But those are all you can't teach someone heart and you can't teach them to have a chin. You can train your way to have good cardio, but there's some people that just don't, no matter what. And there's people like Merab. He's got really good ties to his gym where he coaches. He coaches fighters like Alexa Grasso. He's a BJJ coach there. So it's going to be hard for him to separate. But boy, oh boy, if he wants to take the next step up to compete with these dudes, because he's got the athleticism, he's got all the other things he needs, especially the punching power and the willingness he has to box. If he could become half the technician that someone like Topuria is, just half the technician, be freaking killing people. I'd love to see him go somewhere like Henry Hooft or someone that can just teach him a nip and tuck boxing game, and that can teach him to fight with a game plan, because I haven't seen him fight with a game plan in any of his fights, and I didn't see one. You're fighting Volk, dude. You need to do something. What's next for Volk? I've got a couple names written down. I mean, he should fight Mobsar. That's who he should fight. Now he's getting older and he seems to be wanting to play speed chess again. If you remember when he was an active champion, you know, pre-losing his belt, he was fighting all the time. I think he needs to get a fight in against someone like Movsar Evloev ASAP. Because if the UFC, you know, starts playing speed chess with someone like Gene Silva, could be bad. We're going to talk about him soon. And then for Lopes, he's ranked high in the division. There was the whole entire press conference shit with Yair Rodriguez. Just fight Yair Rodriguez. It's there. Moving on to the co-main event, we had Paddy Pimblett taking on Michael Chandler. This fight ended in a third-round TKO. Paddy Pimblett actually beat the shit out of Michael Chandler. You know, again, I feel like I'm just like here dunking on these dudes, but like Chandler looks done. I'm talking about Henry Hooft, and like he has like a great camp, Robbie Lawler in his corner. Like he's got all the right people there, but I think Chandler is just done. He's having the same problem that I see Pitbull having, where like number one, you just got here too long, and number two, like this is mean, but like you were just never good enough. And maybe at one point Pitbull was good enough, but like not today. But with Chandler, like his stance, the way he kind of like, he's very heavy on the front foot. He's really small for this division. Paddy is fucking huge, by the way. He's like a video game character that you just like keep building his muscle. Like every time you see him, he just keeps getting more and more jacked. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but like he's not being a slob anymore, and he's like taking his career seriously. It's awesome. But like Chandler has this really high guard. He doesn't move his head at all though, and he moves straight in and out, and he's just like really heavy on his front leg. He doesn't have any back foot counterpunching ability, so Paddy was able to just pressure him with combos. Anytime he would pressure Paddy had a good uppercut and a good check hook, you know, ready for that, where Paddy was willing to counterpunch off the back foot. Paddy has the striking defense of Stefan Struve, but like it doesn't matter if you actually fight with a game plan. Like Paddy had a real clear game plan in this fight. Kick Michael Chandler to bits, force him on the back foot with your combinations as you blitz forward. And then anytime he, you know, tries to, you know, crush the space and enter the pocket and throw big power, you can meet him with the jump knee like he did in the third round to crush his fucking face. Or he can hit him with uppercuts like he did throughout the whole fight, hit him with a check hook, or just stick a jab on him and cut the angle. Like Paddy was actually faster. In the first round, Paddy did get taken down and Chandler looked good with his offensive wrestling, but like he mentioned something in between the first and the second about being tired. I don't know if it was him or Paddy, but even in the second round, where like it was kind of a tepid round where it was pretty close, Chandler like took the back, Paddy reversed it, and then once Paddy was on top, he started fucking Chandler up. And then in the third round, it was just like a whitewashing. I watched the fight back actually right before recording this, and upon the live watch, I'm like, oh my god, he just destroyed Michael Chandler, which he ended up destroying him. But in my mind, it was like 3 rounds of like one-sided ass whooping through the fight, and that really wasn't the case upon rewatch about an hour ago. Not a lot got done in the first, you know, round and 2/3. You know, the last minute and a half of the second round was all Paddy, and then the third round was all Paddy. But the first bit of the fight was close, but Chandler had no moments. And when I say close, it was just like neither. Paddy won rounds with like, you know, won that first portion of the fight with leg kicks and his back foot counterpunching, but he had not done any real damage until like the last 2 minutes, minute and a half of the second round, and then the whole third round until he finished him. It's really weird because like Chandler has a bunch of fights in the UFC where Poirier finished him, Paddy finished him, Gaethje kind of beat the shit out of him. You know, Charles fucked him up twice pretty badly. You know, he got hurt really badly by an absolutely washed Tony Ferguson, came back to knock him out as well, but got dropped and hurt in that fight. if you put all of his tape together, he's got moments of where he like, uses athleticism to like hurt an opponent. But like in the first Dustin Poirier fight, everybody, I don't know why all week, no one does tape study clearly, because all week coming into this fight week, I heard everybody saying how he hurt Poirier. He hurt Poirier where he hit him with the clash of heads. And then if you go back and watch that fight, which I did, in the first round, Poirier like nearly finishes him up against the cage where Chandler's just getting fucking killed. Like that fight was, and then he got out wrestled. Poirier got out wrestled by Chandler in the second round, and then he got subbed in the third. Like it wasn't, I don't know. I'm here delivering you guys what I'm seeing from like actual tape study, not just like blabbering shit on Twitter that you see people saying or posting. But yeah, Paddy looked really good. Like he looks fucking huge for this division. He looks like he actually can fight with a game plan and stick to it. He took a couple big shots from Chandler. He ate them. He has a pretty good chin. He's getting better, so I'm going to trust that he's going to start adding striking defense. Like you cannot just he was just counterpunching like this with his chin straight up in the air where he's got the right hand loaded and he's got the check hook loaded. Like you could see it. Like you could, I'm like, oh, he's got that punch loaded. And he's even like feinting the uppercut. Someone more equipped than Chandler could have success in those situations. But I mean, this is way better than like the Jared Gordon fight or the Luigi Vendramini fight. Like he's clearly making improvements. So shout out to him for that. He's taking shit seriously. He's not a fat slob out of camp anymore. So good for Paddy Pimblett. The UFC's gonna do something big with him, which is totally cool. Like he should just fight Dan Hooker. Like that's a big fight. That'll be a fucking brawl. That'll be a crazy fight. Or he could fight Charles Oliveira. I don't think he's going to fight Dustin Poirier, and there's rumors that Dustin's going to be fighting Max Holloway for the BMF belt in Louisiana. That'll be cool. Whatever those dudes. Great. If Chandler comes back after this, he's like 38. He didn't look good. But there's another dude in this division that I think is like another type of version of Michael Chandler, and it's Benoit Saint Denis. I think he should fight BSD. Just like on a main card, or like he's probably going to always be on a main card. Put him like on a main card on a traveling show, like third from the top in like the featured fight. Moving on to the featured fight. This is the third from the top. We had Yair Rodriguez defeating Patricio Pitbull, the Bellator and PFL / Risen / dude alumni. He's older. He's got the knockout win against Chandler. He's got the fights with AJ McKee. Came to the UFC, and Pitbull didn't look good. Or Yair looked good, but it was both. Just being like a tepid, slow, low volume dude that's like 5'6" or 5'5" in this division. The reason why it works for Josh Emmett is because he's willing to fucking go for it. And we just saw that it's not always working for him, even though it was a close fight with Lerone Murphy. But like the reason why Josh Emmett's game and he's competitive at 40 years old with like similar stature, probably more powerful than probably just better. But like a similar game to Pitbull is just because he's willing to go for it. But like, dude, if you're 5'5" or 5'6" and you're a big power puncher and you stand at kicking range against like the best kicker 145 has ever seen, one of the best kickers in UFC history. Yeah, if you make a list of the 15 best kickers that have ever fought in the UFC, Yair Rodriguez is on that list. Whether he's number 1 or number 15, he's on the fucking list. And you just stand at range, let this dude kick you to bits. Yair has good boxing. People sleep on his boxing. It's not the best in the division, of course, but like he's a better boxer than dudes in this division. And his hands look good. His hands look good against Max. People forget that shit. Go watch that fight back. Max, there was moments where Max had to go to his wrestling because he was having issues with Yair on the feet. I think Max also had his moments against Yair on the feet as well. where there's one moment where they both get into the pocket. Boom, boom. Yair lands a 1-2 on Max. Max eats it. Max lands on back and it like staggers Yair, and they're both just like very Spider-Man meme type. But yeah, Pitbull went for it and landed on Yair. There was one moment where Yair it was in the second round, where Yair, I can't speak, where Yair got overzealous and tried to jump into the pocket, and Pitbull blasted him with something. You could see Yair's whole head go, wow, and, come right back into it. Clearly, Pitbull has power. He is just, ever since he got hurt real bad from AJ McKee in that first fight, you just parlay that with the fact that he is older now. His durability is not the best. Like, he's been knocked out and risen. He had issues going down at 135 fighting Sergio Pettis. He just has the ceiling, especially at the stage of the game where he got a big opportunity to fight someone like Yair, where if he would have came and like finished Yair, he'd have probably been fighting for a title. And at a time, he might have been able to compete with the title challengers of this division, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't think so anymore, though. He got hurt really bad and almost finished. Yair's ground and pound looked really good. He buzzed him on the feet in the third round, hurt him a bunch. And it was just a clear decision for Yair. Joe Rogan was on the mic saying, like, clearly there's levels to this, and people didn't like that. But, like, was it kind of a douchey thing to say about Pitbull, where it just made it like, haha, Bellator sucks, UFC's always better? Yeah, kind of was a douchey thing to say, but, like, wasn't really wrong. I don't, like, at this stage of the game for Pitbull, like, I don't know. He should probably just fight like another old dude. He can fight like Jose Aldo. That'd be fine. Or he could fight like Barboza, regardless of the outcome of his next fight. I think that was what makes sense. Oh, and I already made Yair. Yair should fight Lopes. All right, we're going to move on to everyone's least favorite fisherman. I'm everyone's favorite fisherman. Bryce Mitchell is everyone's least favorite fisherman. We had Gene Silva taking on Bryce Mitchell. He won via second round ninja choke, where he this is the reason why Gene Silva was my 2025 Sherdog Fantasy MMA pick for my 145er. I feel pretty good about it, and I'm going to continue to feel pretty good about it. And the dude headlining the card next week is my pick for the 170-pound division, and that's not Ian Gary. Yeah, Gene Silva just came out here and, like, no pun intended, dog walked Bryce Mitchell. It's almost like Gene Silva just, like, let Bryce Mitchell do stuff to him for fun. I don't really. First off, he's like Yoel Romero and Anderson Silva, built in one. The stature and the athleticism and stuff of, Yoel Romero, the explosivity of a guy like Yoel Romero, but like the in-fight reads, the counter-punching, the creativity, the counter-striking. He hit Bryce with that spinning heel kick. Just the back elbows. The takedown defense was incredible in this fight. Bryce Mitchell landed body kicks on him, but everything, even if the strikes were like 3-1, like anytime Gene Silva just touched him, it was like something dangerous and violent, and you could see clearly, like you could see bothered and kind of, possibly put fear into Bryce Mitchell, causing him to wrestle just out of pure desperation in the way he did in this bout. There was a moment where he like backed himself against the cage and he put his hand up and he's like slapping his leg. He's like, here you go for the takedown, go for it. This dude's just like an athletic freak. and he also clearly really enjoys fighting, he's going to be a really big problem for a lot of people, especially with someone like Topuria not being in the division anymore, and especially for a dude like Volk that has never been the most durable guy and is 36 and less durable than he ever was. You know, Volk's been hurt in all of his, Max hurt him multiple times. Islam hurt him in their first fight multiple times, knocked him out. Topuria, Chad Mendes, everyone's hurt. Everyone hurts Volk. Don't see why someone like Gene Silva, who is explosive and creative and crazy, wouldn't be able to. Gene Silva's just craftsmanship in the cage, where he is just not only willing to go everywhere in a fight, but wanting to go everywhere, and yeah, he just seems to have a mental for this game where it's he's not facing adversity in fights. Everything is just an opportunity. You put him against the cage. Okay, well, someone's got him against, someone's got him on the back foot. Ilya's got him on the back foot, whatever. But that's not a disadvantage. He's just going to figure out some weird way to counter strike you. Okay, well, now he's being forced on the front foot. Cool, look what he did to Melsik Bagdasaryan. He's having to defend takedowns against the cage. Okay, he's got a ninja choke for that. He just seems to have an answer for a lot of things. I don't want to say everywhere, but he seems to have a lot of answers, and he seems to take every opportunity in the cage to just turn that into offense. Again, he can fight off his back foot, fight on the front foot. He can defend takedowns. He can clearly grapple, and he can clearly submit people. Just what is this dude not capable of? Fight nerds, they're someone asked this weekend, what are they doing? What are the fight nerds doing so good? And I think they're doing something that someone like Ray Longo has done before, where they find out what someone's good at, and they really help them lean into that, and they teach them to become very proficient in that thing, and they seem to do a lot of tape study. They seem to not only build game plans very well, but they seem to work on techniques a lot and build techniques and are creative with techniques. Look at Hoofy with his techniques. They seem to not only do that, but they share knowledge with each other. They're really fucking nerds about this shit. It's awesome. Bryce Mitchell's kicking game looked okay. His body kicks look good. And maybe to a dude that's not an athletic freak made out of stone, those would have done something. But it was just a wet paper towel roll against a concrete slab with those kicks. They were great kicks. And against me, they would have killed me, not Gene Silva. Moving forward for Bryce, he, people don't love him anymore. He seems to have some enemies, but there's still fights out there for him in the UFC. You can use him to build fights, build his name. I think that would totally make sense. Give him someone like Aaron Pico. Give him Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico's coming over to the UFC. He signed. Give him Aaron Pico. I think that makes tons of sense. As for Gene Silva, he seems to have a lot of fanfare, but he also seems to have kind of, becoming a little bit of the heel with the barking, and people think he's corny and a little bit weird. So I think the perfect thing to do is to make him fight Arnold Allen or Lerone Murphy in the UK, either as a fight night main event, or if they do a pay-per-view in the UK later this year as a 5-round co-main event, or maybe a featured bout against either one of those dudes. Have them fight someone like that in their own backyard. I think he would be willing to take that on. I think that'd be a good opportunity for him. I think he beats both those dudes. And Arnold Allen's an incredible fight. He just does not fight enough. And I think him and Gene Silva would be an incredible fight. I think it's, I'd be a little bit worried about Gene Silva in that fight. And he may actually cause Lerone Murphy to have a fun fight. Final fight we're going to talk about a feel-good moment. We had Dominick Reyes defeating Nikita Krylov in the first round via a really beautiful back foot counterpunch where he fucking melted Nikita Krylov. Dom Reyes is back, boys. He went on a terrible loss streak. You know, he lost, air quotes, to John Jones, where, come on, guys. Come on. I'm going to say he lost. If you go to Sherdog.com and you type in Dominick Reyes, there's an L on his record for the John Jones fight. But that should be a W. And it should not be red. It should be green. After that, he lost to Jan Blachowicz. That was a loss. He got knocked the fuck out. Lost real bad to Yair. Lost real bad to Yair. And then also lost the worst loss of all of them, especially if you look at it now, is that Ryan Spann loss where he got knocked out with that power jab. But he was just taking fights too fast. He was not confident. He's one thing about Dominick Reyes that I love is that, like, he seems to be so happy to win these fights. Like, they really do. This, like, does mean something to him. There's a quote that came out that he posted where it was like his high school picture and like the quote, something about resilience and shit. Very MMA fightery, but incredible for the dude. He, I wish I would have been able to record a show for this fight because, like, I was all over Dominick. Nikita Krylov is like sloppy on the feet. Dom Reyes is not bad. He is one of the, number one, he has like some of the best footwork in this whole division. Like, he really does have the ability to like cut angles really well and like slip and rip and like, you know, take an L step and slip something and then like roll a shoulder and get out of the way. He's got a very slick counter punching game, and he's got like a good back foot counter punching game. And he's just very athletic. He looked a little like bigger in this fight, you know, maybe not as cut up as normal. He's not like a super muscle bound dude. He's just very athletic and fast. And his hair, he looked like disheveled, but no, he was about his business in this fight. He fucked up Nikita Krylov. One punch knocked him out. And was just kind of like cruising and doing well through this whole fight and like wasn't in trouble and murked Nikita Krylov. Yeah, Nikita Krylov is coming off of a 2-year layoff. You know, he literally fought this fight like Ion Cutelaba, like rushing in and throwing punches. But like, that's Krylov. He is the king of like being good when a fight is going his way, but like also being really, really terrible and stupid. Like how he absolutely killed Paul Craig to only get triangled by him 30 seconds later. He didn't get a bonus for this, which sucks because like main event was a good fight, but like I would rather see Dominick Reyes get $50K for this than those dudes get a fight of the night bonus. Like Reyes probably needs a $50K more than they do. Maybe not Lopes, but still. Reyes looked awesome though. He looked incredible. I'm happy for him. You know, he's winning these fights. He's finishing these dudes. He's back on a streak, which means he's getting closer to a title fight again. Like, he was ranked, I think he's ranked like number 6 in the division in the UFC rankings, or number 8. Like, he's at light heavyweight. Like, you're 1 or 2 fights away. So I think he should fight Carlos Ulberg. That makes sense. That'll be fun. They both have similar games. They're like the crafty counterpunchers in this division. So I think that'd be a lot of fun. Give him Carlos Ulberg. Carlos Ulberg did not have a convincing win against Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz himself had been out for a long time. He's over 40 years old and arguably won that fight. I think he did win the fight against Ulberg. But give Reyes Ulberg. Ulberg does not deserve to move up in the rankings off that performance. We're already getting the Alex Pereira rematch. Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira are going to rematch. So let's we're riding on the Dominick Reyes train, boys. Let's get him back in there. Let's get him back in. You know, moving forward in the rankings. I don't think he's going to be moving backward. And then for Nikita Krylov, he could fight someone like Bogdan Guskov. That dude deserves a chance to fight someone, and that'll be a weird, funny fight. It's men's light heavyweight, so it's all weird and funny. No fights this weekend, so take your spouse out, go fishing, go and do something cool. If you got to go run errands, go do something outside. It's spring. We'll be back for a preview show. I will do a little bit of talking about the Ian Machado Gary and Carlos Pratas fight card coming up the following weekend. But that's the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and enjoy the week off.